30% of baby boomers have absolutely nothing saved for retirement. That's 19.5 million people, not a little behind, nothing. And two-thirds are carrying debt into what should be their golden years. Compare that to people who retired in the 1940s and 50s. Only 20% of them had debt. Today, it's 67%. There's a $9,000 a year gap most people don't know they have, and it starts the day they retire. But there's one asset 86% of baby boomers own that almost nobody is using right now. So, in the next 10 minutes, I'll show you why this happened, what it means for your future, and exactly what to do with it. So let's start with what's happening right now. 2025 is called Peak 65. That means more Americans are turning 65 this year than any year in history. We're talking 11,400 people every single day. 4.18 million people reaching 65 this year alone. And here's a problem. Only 40% workers between 61 and 65 are financially on track for retirement. That's according to Vanguard's 2025 analysis. So 60% are not on track, and many of them don't even know it. So 58.8% of baby boomers say they're delaying retirement because of financial stress, not because they love their jobs, because they can't afford to stop. A typical baby boomer faces a $9,000 annual deficit in retirement. That's the gap between what they'll need and what they'll actually have. So now $9,000 a year might not sound catastrophic, but multiply that by 20 years of retirement. That's $180,000 you don't have. And that's before healthcare costs. Now, before long-term care, before inflation eats into your fixed income. The median retirement savings for baby boomers is about $270,000. Sounds like a lot, but financial planners will tell you that's not enough for a 20 or 30-year retirement, especially when healthcare alone could cost you $315,000 over your lifetime. So why did this happen? How did the entire generation end up in this position? Well, here's what nobody talks about. Baby boomers enter the workforce with pensions. Your employer promised to take care of you in retirement. You showed up, you did your job, and you got a check for life. Then, 1978, something changed. The 401k was introduced, and over the next 2 decades, companies quietly shifted the entire burden of retirement onto workers. See, the problem is, baby boomers were mid-career when this happened. They didn't get the full benefit of pensions, and they didn't have enough years to build 401k from scratch. They got caught in the middle. So today, only 14% of Gen X workers have pensions, compared to 56% of baby boomers. The system changed, and nobody prepared people for what that meant. Then came 2008. The Great Recession wiped out retirement accounts at exactly the wrong time. People in their 50s saw their savings cut in half. Many never recovered. So now let me show you how this plays out in real life, because this isn't abstract. This is a chain reaction that happens to real families. So it starts with inadequate savings. You retire with less than you need. That forces you to keep working into your 70s, maybe even your 80s. 57% of baby boomers workers say they expect to work until 70 or never retire at all. That's not a plan. That's desperation. But here's the cruel twist. Health problems don't wait for your retirement plan. Many people are forced out of work earlier than they expected, not because they chose to retire, because their body made the choice for them. A bad back, a heart condition, a diagnosis that changes everything. Now, Social Security becomes your primary income, but Social Security has never designed to be your whole paycheck. It replaces about 40% of what you were earning. The estimated average retirement benefit is about $2,071 a month. That's about $24,852 a year. Well, try living on that. Then healthcare costs start eating into whatever you have left. Medicare doesn't cover everything. The standard Part B premium is about $202.90 a month in 2026. Part D has its own premium. Medigap or Advantage plans add more copays, deductibles, prescription costs. It adds up fast. And then comes the thing nobody wants to think about, long-term care. 70% of seniors will need some type of long-term care in their lifetime. A nursing home costs $131,000 a year for a private room. That's about $361 a day. Assisted living runs about $73,000 a year, depending on the state. Even in-home care costs $6,000 a month or more. You see, 60% of older adults could not afford 2 years of in-home care. 2 years. And the average person who needs long-term care needs it for 3. So what happens? Well, your savings get wiped out. You spend down to qualify for Medicaid. And if your family wants to avoid that, they have to step in. They pay out of pocket. They provide care themselves. They sacrifice their own financial security to protect yours. That's the impact chain. Inadequate saving leads to forced work, leads to health problems, leads to Social Security dependency, leads to healthcare costs, leads to long-term care, leads to family burden. And it doesn't stop with you. It passes to the next generation. Has this hit your family yet? Or are you watching this thinking, well, that's going to be me? Well, drop a comment. I want to hear your story. So now, let's be fair. Some people push back on the idea of retirement crisis. Well, they say baby boomers have home equity. That's true. 86% own their homes. Average equity is about $113,000. But you can't eat your house. Homes are illiquid. You can't pay for groceries with your spare bedroom. And if you're planning to downsize in a hot market, you're competing with everyone else trying to do the same thing. Plus, where are you going to live? Rent isn't cheap either. They say Social Security will save them, but the trust fund is projected to be depleted by 2034. If Congress doesn't act, benefits get cut automatically by 19%. You see, 61% of current Social Security recipients say missing even half a payment would leave them unable to survive financially. That's how close to the edge people are. And they say the retirement crisis has been predicted for decades and never happened. Well, here's the truth. The crisis is happening. It's just invisible if you're not living it. The bottom 60% of older households have mortality rates nearly double those in the top 20%. People in the bottom 20% of wealth die 9 years earlier than people at the top. 9 years. 45% of older adult households don't have enough income to cover basic living costs, not luxuries, basics. You see, this isn't a prediction. It is happening right now. You just don't see it unless it's your family. So what do? Well, look, this isn't about lazy people who didn't save. It's about a system that changed the rules mid-game. Pensions disappeared, healthcare costs exploded, the 401k was sold as freedom, but came with no instruction manual, and nobody told you until it was too late. But you're here now, and knowing the problem is the first step to fixing it. A year from now, you'll either be glad that you did the math, or you'll be standing at a crossroads wondering why nobody explained this earlier. Well, here are 6 things you can do right now. Number 1, get a written financial plan. Only 27% of baby boomers have one. That means 73% are guessing. You need to know your numbers. What's coming in, what's coming out, what's the gap? A written plan forces you to face reality, and reality is where solutions live. Number 2, create a backup income plan. Only 38% of baby boomers have a plan for income if they're forced into retirement earlier than expected. But what if you can't work until 70? What's your fallback? Part-time work? Rental income? A side business? Figure it out before you need it. Number 3, calculate your actual retirement gap. Vanguard has a free calculator. Link is in the description. Plug in your numbers, see where you stand. A $9,000 average might be better or worse for you. You need to know your number, not the average, your own. Next, number 4, evaluate long-term care insurance now. The younger you are, the cheaper it is. Once you have health problems, you may not qualify at all. 70% will need care. Don't assume you'll be the exception. At least get quotes and understand your options. Number 5, consider your home equity. 86% of baby boomers have this asset sitting there. A reverse mortgage isn't right for everyone, but it's worth understanding how it works. A HELOC gives you flexibility for emergencies. Downsizing strategically can free up significant cash. So don't let $113,000 sit there doing nothing while you're struggling. Number 6, review your Medicare plan before December 7. Open enrollment ends December 7. The wrong plan can cost you thousands in unexpected expenses. The right plan can save you thousands. Don't let it default to last year's choice. Make an active decision based on your current medications and doctors. The average baby boomer faces a $9,000 per year shortfall. That's not statistics. That's your groceries, your medication, your ability to help your grandkids, your peace of mind. So this is your money. You worked for it. The system won't optimize for you. You have to know the numbers yourself. So if you know someone who needs to hear this, send it to them. And if you want to understand how long-term care costs could wipe out everything you've saved, I made a video on that. The link is in the description. I'm Hanh Brown, and this is The Hanh Brown Show. I'll see you in the next one.